Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Morning Show with your hosts, Wayne and Gabby.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, real estate investors. Welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Today's show, we're going to be diving into an interview. What am I talking about? We have a special guest on the show, investor focus mortgage broker extraordinaire. Your favorite, Keaton Kirkwood, is on the show today. We're going to be talking all about what is going on with interest rates. What's the deal with interest rates
These days.
Yes, and specifically, what the media is not telling you, because there's been some changes and it hasn't really been talked about very much in the news. So Keaton's going to enlighten us. He's going to fill us in. And he's going to help us make better decisions in regards to our financing for our real estate investments.
Love it. Can't wait to have him on. First time on the new platform.
That is true. That's true. Let's see how he does. You think he's going to be okay?
I wonder if he's nervous.
I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
What else is on the agenda for today, Gabby?
Well, we got a lot on the go, actually. I think most importantly, getting excited, we have inspections on 2 of our new acquisitions this week.
Oh, yeah.
So we just got those scheduled. I think one's tomorrow and one's on Friday. So that's always exciting. It means we're getting close to conditions removal, which is exciting because that means we're about to buy the properties.
Yeah, these are 2 completely different properties, but 2 completely amazing opportunities, both in Edmonton, Alberta, and very excited for that. I'm still actively looking, trying to find some more. I'm still on the hunt. Yeah. I'm on the prowl. It's been a busy few weeks looking at lots of properties and analyzing. It's just a matter now of just waiting for the right one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think though that with the going back to the inspections. With the inspections, I find that a lot of people are like, okay, we need to find out if this is good or not, and if we're, walking away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the mindset around inspections.
What a stupid misconception.
Yeah, it's because you're not really thinking about. Well, I know I'll talk about us, so not the general public, but for Wayne and I, we're not thinking about whether we're going to be, based on the inspection, whether we're going to be walking away from the deal or whether, okay, everything looks okay, we're going to move forward. For us, it's more about figuring out like what needs to be addressed. So obviously like getting the data, like what's wrong with it, what needs to get addressed. And then really figuring out how we can move forward with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether it's like, okay, this is all doable, it's not a big deal, remove the conditions, we're good. Or there is stuff that needs to be addressed. There is a collapsing sewer line, or there is a major electrical upgrade that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. Whatever it may be, okay, does this price still make sense? Or maybe now are we looking at seeing if we can get an adjustment to make it make sense. Yeah,
right? Absolutely. It really comes down to, I'm glad you brought that up. It comes down to negotiation. Yeah. I need to interject here for a second because I completely forgot that, we're talking all about Edmonton and we got a very busy day ahead of us today. And I need to know what the weather's going to be in Edmonton today.
Yes.
And I'm sure Chris is also thinking like, okay, what about the Hammer? What's the weather looking like in the Hammer today? So what is the weather looking like across Canada today?
The weather today will be 27 degrees in Edmonton, 21 degrees in Vancouver, 28 degrees in Winnipeg, 20 degrees in Toronto, and 13 degrees in Halifax.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Evie. I didn't know that the Hammer was going to be a permanent fixture.
Oh.
But now I know.
All right.
Don't blame the weather girl. Don't blame the weather girl. It was my fault.
Okay. And I'm a terrible listener.
Yeah, you are.
I when you're talking and when she's talking, I use that as my thinking time. It's just like some things I need to touch on and whatnot. And so I always ask what the weather's going to be, and then I don't listen when she says it. What is it going to be in Edmonton?
27.
Oh, God, that's a nice day.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice day.
That's a very nice. I
maybe
can feel it already.
Thunderstorms later tonight.
What's that?
Maybe some thunderstorms later tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why would you ask me what's going on today before letting our daughter do the weather?
I'm still adjusting to new format.
Okay.
I'm still adjusting to the new format. But back to home inspections. We don't necessarily look at it as a go or no go situation. I mean, there have been some situations where it has been a no go.
Yeah.
And there could be some scenarios where that could be the case. But more often than not, smart real estate investors, educated real estate investors look at it as an opportunity to renegotiate. And I can't think of many situations unless it was like the whole complete building envelope, needed to be like the whole structure needed to be torn down. Then maybe. Yeah. But
or where the seller isn't willing to budge and there are some big expenses that we're not willing to take on ourselves.
Right. Of course. But I think that everything is negotiable. And in most cases, I tend to get more money off the price than the actual cost of repairing it. So as long as I'm willing to put in the work and my expertise, in a lot of cases, I can actually make more money on the buy by taking on some of the repairs, repairing them myself, and then building extra equity.
Yeah.
Right? And it's an opportunity for me. Now, do I always want to be taking on immediate work as soon as I take possession of a property? Not particularly. Not going to lie to you. I prefer turnkey by definition, like turn the key and rent it. What are your thoughts on it? Would you prefer to? Where you are right now and how busy you are?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's less about whether or not we need to arrange for like repairs to happen. That's not really a big deal to me, unless it's something major. Like if it's like, oh, we need to redo the whole thing, then no, I don't want to take on that kind of job. But for me, it's more about like, I love this part of the acquisition because you start to get a little bit creative, especially when you're thinking about like the financing of it, because there's times, like you just said, where you're like, oh, maybe I can get more off of the price than what I'm actually going to spend to repair it, which sweet bonus. But I'd like to also look on the other side, whereas if I can get the seller to do those repairs and just leave the price as is, then I'm all in for just my down payment and I don't need to spend extra money that doesn't get financed after the fact. So I like to look at the big picture and be like, what's our best case scenario here? Like, how much are we talking about spending? I won't be able to finance that after the fact, so that's money out of my pocket. Is that better? Or is getting it done beforehand and getting that worked in through just what we're buying it for better, because then it's all financed?
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair point too.
So you get to get a little bit creative in what your outcome is, which I like.
Yeah. I think every circumstance is going to be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
But I won't lie. My preference is turnkey properties. I love turnkey properties. I know they're boring for most people. They're like, no, I want to make money on the buy. No, I want to do BRRRRs. Trust me, when you get to this stage and when you're scaling out your portfolio, you start to appreciate the easy ones. Because the more of those you get, the more you can kind of repeat the process, just copy, paste, control V, control V, control V, control V. It makes things a lot easier for you to scale. And if you're always chasing the unicorn deal, the best one that's going to make the most money on the buy, the one that's going to, allow you to refinance in a few years or do the BRRRR or, some sort of a creative deal, you're going to spend all your time on one deal when you could be spending all your time on copy pasting. And I find that a good system, a repeatable system that works is much more valuable than trying to find unicorn deals. I promise you. In the beginning, don't get me wrong, I chased unicorns. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do in order to get started. Yeah. But as you start building up your own capital and your own equity, it's a copy-paste game. And I want to build a system that's easy and repeatable so I can just continue to keep growing on what works, not trying to chase the new big thing.
Yeah, I think that it's all about the life that you're trying to create, and people forget that. And like you said early on, you do whatever you have to do and work hard and crazy. Sorry. Working crazy hours, doing crazy things on the tools, whatever you got to do to get ahead. But you have to remember what it is that you're working towards and the life that you're actually trying to create. Like, what's the goal? Because, I mean, maybe for some people, it might be to still be doing what you're doing, forever because you just love it so much. Maybe you love renovations, or I don't know, whatever it may be. Maybe you just like, you want that to be what you're doing day in and day out.
Yeah.
But I think for most people, we're doing this to create time freedom, to be able to spend it doing things, other things that we love, like with our families and, you know, all the other things that come with that. And so when I look at it, I'm just like, you know, like every time Wayne starts a new project or something, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is more, you know, takes more away from being able to have that time freedom, usually for a period of time.
For you, this is what I want.
This is what Wayne loves.
This is what I want.
But eventually, so for the other things, like for a lot of our portfolio and a lot of our acquisitions, it is just the copy paste because those are easy. Takes a minute to find them, takes a minute to do the inspections and, you know, take possession and to get them tenanted. But then it just sits there in our systems, right?
Making lots of money and strong cash flow, low risk. We never think about it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And I mean, there's going to be tenant problems along the way and there's going to be turnovers and all those types of things. But
systems. The
less that we can be hands-on, the more we're living the life that we're trying to create, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's all, you have to remember that. Because if you're just trying to build something out like some big crazy business that you're just going to be in for years to come, and that's not actually what you want, then maybe you should pivot.
That's a very good point. We got lots of people joining us in the live show today. And if you guys want to join us live on YouTube every weekday morning, just look up Wayne Hillier on YouTube, and you will see that Wayne goes live at 7 a.m. every weekday morning, broadcasting the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Now, we got some really cool people hanging out with us, and if you want to join us live too, we hope that you do. Who do we have joining us? And I'm curious as to, you know, if you guys are open to sharing this, and you're going to have to do it pretty quick if you want us to read it. I'm curious, what's your dream? What's your goals with all of this in real estate investing? Let us know in the chat. Why are you getting into this? What are your long-term goals? Are you crazy and you just want to keep on doing this over and over and over again? Or is there a means to an end? You know what I mean? Is there a target that you're trying to achieve? I see the Southside Strangler is joining us this morning. Who is that again? Is it Luke?
Luke, yeah.
Yeah, you really got to work on that.
I don't know. I like it's weird.
Is it a reference? Continue. Who else is joining us? I'm going to look it up.
Good morning, Luke. We have Kirsten here. Remember, guys, we don't know you're here unless you say hi to us. So if you want to pop in a good morning or hello, that would be awesome. But yes, we have Kirsten joining us. Good morning, Kirsten. We have Craig here. Good morning to Craig. We also have Manny in the house and Josh. Good morning, guys. We have Anastasia here. Good morning to you. And Fabian says top of the morning. And his better half, Kyla, is also here, who also says good morning. Good morning to you.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to read the story about the Southside Strangler. It's not appropriate.
Is it an Edmonton story?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not an appropriate story for.
Luke's just twisted.
We have children listening. I loved it. I think it was Kirsten's. One of Kirsten's kids was saying, or was it Kirsten? Yeah. On the bus tour recently, that we hear you swearing every morning.
Oh, yeah. She went up to Everly. It was like, your dad swears all the time.
Yeah, so I have to remember that there's children listening to this podcast, and I'll mind my my P's and F's, that was silly, but I'll mind my F bombs and just use them when necessary for dramatic effect. But,
moments of passion.
Moments of passion. Oh, that's so cute. So you can go ahead and read that.
Kirsten's daughter just now said, "That's me. It's true."
Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning.
Okay, that's. I will make sure that I keep my mouth clean today.
We're gonna be on our best behavior,
and we will pass that on to Keaton, our guest, as well. One other quick thing before Keaton joins us and we start talking about what's going on with the interest rates. Upcoming event on June 12th. You guys have heard it before, and I'll say it again. The Edmonton Garden Suites 101 event is coming to Edmonton live and in person. Learn everything that you need to know about building Edmonton Garden Suites on your residential lots. It's going to be an exciting event. It's cheap. It's affordable. It's on a Friday night. So rather than going down to the local pub or your local dance floor, or your ice cream social, whatever you're going to on Friday nights, come join us and learn everything about Edmonton Garden Suites. It is the biggest cash flowing investment opportunity in Canada right now. You do not want to miss out on it. So if you haven't got your tickets, go get them right now, please, for the love of God. Go to reimasters.ca under events, and you will see it there. Get your tickets, and we're looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Our builder partners, Edmonton Garden Suites, is going to be there.
Ooh.
As well. Get all your questions asked. Lots of people are asking about it, what's going on with it. And it's for as much interest there is in it, we're getting equally as much hate.
Yes.
Because
to be expected.
I knew this was going to happen. And I've been very clear about my position, my moral position on this from the beginning. It is not something that I like, but the thing is that it's business, and you need to detach yourself from your emotions in business, and there are going to be people that don't like it. That is part of it, okay? And there were people that were up in arms when we were building lots of basement suites too. Where are they going to park? Parking requirements. This is BS. I can't believe they're removing parking requirements on It's bad. I know. Parking it's a crappy situation. However, the city wants to build more. Every person that's complaining about parking is the same person that's complaining about rents. What do you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough rentals. So they need to build more rentals. There's nowhere to build them. We can't build out our cities big enough in new development areas. We have to build inwards. Yeah. So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. Would I want one of these properties coming up next to me? Absolutely not. I wouldn't. I'm an honest person. However, it is my property. I purchased it, and I'm legally allowed to do that, and so are you. And if you see this as an opportunity to increase your profits and increase your cash flow so that you can better your future and provide more housing for people who need it, right? I never said this is going to be an easy, debate. It's not going to be an easy decision, and I know that a lot of people are hurt by it, and it's a lot of snarky people on the internet. And because this is such a popular thing and so many people are interested in it, it's kind of the algorithms picking up on it, and people outside of my followers are picking it up, and I'm making a lot of Facebook groups, and I'm getting a lot of hateful comments and things like that. I totally understand. They're not listening to this podcast, but I'm speaking to the people that are interested in it. I was right. It's a lot of people are going to be interested in it, and it's a huge opportunity. So get in on it now while you can, because I think you're going to regret it if you don't. I have never seen numbers this good. And some people have been asking, can we do MLI Select? Yes, maybe. You can probably refinance it into MLI Select. You'll have to have to put an application in to find out about that. But the cool thing about it, and I was explaining this to someone yesterday, is you don't need MLI Select. That's the cool part about it.
Yeah, so cool.
So many people are like, yeah, I want to do MLI Select. And I'm like, yeah, you can put an application in to see if you get approved. But it's not like other infill developments where you need it
to make
in order to make the numbers work. You don't need it. The numbers are better than properties that are on longer amortizations and lower interest rates. That's how freaking good it is. If you can finance it at 75% loan to value and the numbers are as good or better, I mean, this just shows the opportunity that we're talking about right now.
Yeah. And
yeah, there's only so many properties in the city of Edmonton where this can work on. So get in on it quick and pick up the land. It's a land grab right now. That's what it is. You need to find and grab that land as quickly as possible before everybody else does. Anyways, Edmonton Garden Suites 101 on June 12th. Go to reimasters.ca to get your tickets for that. And what else we got in the comments? Because real deals numbers work. What's it say? I can't see.
I think if it was worded a little differently, it might make sense, but I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say.
I think he was agreeing.
I think so too.
Okay. All right. Quick little commercial break, guys. We've got Keaton Kirkwood in the green room ready to go, and he is excited to talk to you about what's going on with mortgage interest rates right now in Canada, and what aren't they telling you?
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. We'll be right back.
Real estate investors need to treat debt differently than homeowners, and at Kirkwood and Brennan Mortgage Group, we understand that. For the last 11 years, we've helped real estate investors plan and build their portfolios. We understand how to help you avoid fees, penalties, getting yourself stuck, and making sure that the deal you're doing today doesn't stop the deal you want to do tomorrow. You can reach out to Keaton, Keaton, at kbmortgages.ca. Put plan on the subject line, and we'll help you build a plan and then realize it for your real estate goals. We also coordinate with the other professionals like your accountant, lawyer, realtor, and we will help you build your portfolio. So reach out. We'll do our best to help. Thanks, guys.
You've got showings, lease signings, suite renos, condo board meetings, credit checks, mortgage financing, and every so often the tenant clogs the sink because they shove macaroni down there. Stop. Breathe. Leave the bookkeeping to Fingo. Fingo is specialized real estate bookkeeping by real estate investors with tailored services for maximum returns. Save time. Enhance your returns. Claim the plumbing repair for that ridiculous macaroni fiasco. Book your free consultation at fingo.com.
Summer. While everyone's getting distracted, this is when the market gets quiet. Not because the opportunities disappear, but because the people do. Vacations, long weekends, these are the distractions I'm talking about. And that's exactly when serious investors make their moves. At Calvin Realty, this is one of our favorite windows. Less competition, more flexibility, and sellers who are actually open to negotiating. While everyone else is stepping away, we're stepping in. If you're looking to buy right, not just buy fast, this is your edge. Calvin Realty. Opportunity doesn't take time off.
Okay. All right. Good morning, Keaton. How are you?
Morning. How are you guys?
We are doing good. You can hear us fine, and we'd like everybody as well. Sorry, if you could let us know in the chat that you can hear Keaton, everything is good. Thumbs up. There'll be a slight delay on that, but I can see you, I can hear you, and that's fantastic. And thank you so much for joining us on the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Okay, first off,
you know what I realized?
What's that?
That being on at 7 now, we do have to keep it a little more PG because the kids are up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new format.
Yeah, the degeneracy of 6 a.m.s are gone.
Mm-hmm. That's, but I think there's plenty to talk about, right? That can keep us on track and in line. And what I'd just like to know real quick from you first before we dive into what's going on with interest rates, but like, is there anything new and exciting with you in your world, in your business, your life?
Just busy. Kids growing up. It's hard to believe my daughter is going to be going into grade 1 next year. And just, I'm sure you guys notice it with the little ones. It goes by fast. And
yep.
Too fast.
Usual family stuff. Lots of projects.
And how's business? How's the business of mortgage financing? Is it going well? Is it getting more difficult? Is it? You're still here.
Is both fair? I think as an industry overall, particularly for those that work with more complex clients, it is getting harder. The reality is there is a regulator, OSFI, the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, and they exist to essentially lower the risk of the lending system. That's a one-way trip. So this has been going on pretty aggressively since 2009-10. Complex situations are definitely getting harder to deal with. And our ability to pull rabbits out of hats for poor planning and, just an ignorance of the system is getting harder and harder. So, it's more challenging, but things are busy and it's kind of a double-edged sword. As things get more challenging, regular brokers that don't specialize with larger portfolios, self-employed clients, tax strategy type stuff, they just have less and less options. So, that leads to more people needing solutions. So it balances out. It's an unforgiving industry sometimes.
Okay. So instead of having to pull rabbits out of hats, you're pulling rabbits out of your butt. That's what you're saying.
Not quite. It's just the rabbits are getting larger and they're a little heavier to lift out of a hat.
Love it.
Okay, so I know that we send lots of, well, even if it is more difficult, it's not showing because you are the magic man. And, I keep sending people your way. And so many of our students and so many of our followers, investors that we know in our community are using Kirkwood and Brennan mortgage team, and they just keep on getting it done. So, what's your secret, Keaton?
Basically, we work with a broader set of lenders, and like, here's the thing, full disclosure. And if you need any of these things, I'll still help you find a solution, but it's not me. We don't do B lending. We don't do commercial lending. We don't do private lending. We have contacts for all of those, and we'll connect people that need it with the right people. But all we focus on is the tax strategy and portfolio planning, and then helping people structuring their homes, etc., on the A lending side. So we just do a lot of one thing. That's still a pretty broad base. We're helping people plan their investment portfolios on the real estate side, coordinating that with their other professionals like Steve, their accountants, their realtor, Calvin. We're dealing with the optimization of their corporate pay aligned with their real estate goals. So we're working with, say, Steve at Fingo. We're discussing, hey, what are Wayne and Gabby's long-term goals? Okay, what do you want to do from a tax planning perspective on their income out of their business? Okay, well, what do we need based on their real estate goals? There's a lot more of those bridging those connections and working kind of cohesively. If someone's an employee, it's a little simpler on the income side, but then we need to plan more on the debts and liability side. We need to make sure that the investment properties they buy are not going to drag down their portfolio or the way we structure that financing. We need to make sure they're primary residents. A common mistake is the debt is bad, pay it off as fast as possible. I don't disagree with that in some circumstances, but there's a tendency to want a very aggressive short amortization on the primary residence. But the problem is that can tank or completely eliminate your ability to buy investment properties. We can simply restructure it so on paper, the payments are lower, therefore you get your qualifying back and you can achieve your real estate goals. But in the real world, you can voluntarily use certain privileges called prepayment to have that shorter amortization you want. So you get your cake and eat it too. It just requires planning.
Yeah. I've always, early on, I always thought the power team thing was really, gimmicky. And I almost felt like it was just a thing to throw up on a slide just to sound, just to add a bunch of filler material, to a seminar. But, as I developed my business and as we continue to scale, I really did truly see the value in a power team, but even more so, as you're explaining, the synergy between, the power team members and working together. I know trying to go from one person to the other person, this person, that person, email to email, this person says this person says this. And it just, like you said, the cohesiveness, working together, it really helps things move along. And also it gets you to your goals faster because,
you know where it's really, really apparent is when there's an issue. I've seen deals. Unfortunately, actually, it was Richard Bell and Calvin were involved, but issues came up with the contract with the seller. And it's like, oh shit. And I've had situations where the lawyer just throws their hands in the air and just says, I need this fixed. And that's it. That's what they say. And they demand they need their paperwork. And, they otherwise dates have to get pushed. The realtors often just shrug their shoulders and say, there's nothing I can do. Fix it on the lending side. And everybody just kind of says, not my problem. But in this case, an issue came up due to the seller side. This is actually a couple of years ago. And Calvin was able to push the sellers and to really be, even though they didn't want to give any ground or any dates, he was able to push a little bit. Richard was able to accommodate timelines. And I believe his paralegal or his assistant, Larissa, came in early and was able to get extra stuff done early. We were able to push the lender side where we all called all the way up to like a regional manager. And cohesively, like together, we were able to solve this thing. Whereas any one of us did not have like the sum of the solution. But everybody giving where they could, every little bit of progress that each individual made was enough the deal got done. I'm confident that without those other parties, it would not have happened.
Yeah, I love that you
got to close in 3 days with a long weekend.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
I love that, Keaton, and I think that people underestimate how it's such. Like it's such a convenience to have a power team where they all know each other so well that you guys can literally just connect and work through it together. Because if it was a realtor that Richard had never worked with before and a broker that had never also worked with the realtor, and you guys were in this like triangle of people who had never done business together, and you're trying to coordinate and make something happen that's really tough, it probably wouldn't have gone so smoothly. But because we have this incredible, power team of people who yourself, you talked about Richard Bell at Bar LLP, and you talked about Calvin at Calvin Realty. Like,
And
these are
Steve at
three
Fingo,
individuals,
yeah.
and Steve at Fingo. Those are all individuals that we personally recommend all the time to people. Whether or not they use them, we can't control. But we're saying, hey, these people are all fantastic at what
Yeah.
they do. And then here's the added benefit is that if you actually use them, they all work together almost every single day.
Yeah.
And can solve issues like this that will come up. Maybe they haven't come up for you yet, but if you are in this industry and you're taking action and you're building a portfolio, you will run into these issues, right? So I think that's such a cool added benefit that you just highlighted.
Well, this specific deal, it was almost like a trust fall because I distinctly remember the lender was like, even if we do what you're asking, it's not going to work. Whereas, and it was the same. So basically, we just had to say, hey, we know the realtor, we know the lawyer, trust us.
Yeah.
So I had a good enough relationship with the lender. They're like, okay, but if they don't come through, even if we do what you're asking, it's still not enough. And it was kind of the same on the lawyer side. And we had to trust that Calvin would be able to get a little bit of just a couple inches in a sense. And it makes a huge difference, right? It's not just a convenience. It's a huge asset to have because how many times have you guys seen something unexpected come up in a real estate deal?
Every
right?
single
all
time.
the time. All the
Not
time.
uncommon. It's not
Every
always
time.
uncommon, but
And it's so cool. Like I see Leanne's in the comments here on YouTube. She said 100%. We started with trying to support family and their careers, but they didn't specialize in our type of investing. We now work with Keaton, Calvin, and Steve, and they're all on the same page. And that's what we just keep hearing is that like, and it's so cool. Like in the example you gave, it's like everyone individually has their own powers. You know what I mean? They're like the Green Ranger, the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger, and they all come together. But when there's a problem, you ever see the scenes where like they get in the Zords, remember? And they get in those big machines. And then it's like, oh, we got a big bad villain this time. So we're going to put our Zords together and create a Megazord.
Oh my God. How did
And
we
then
get here?
It's just like you don't know just how powerful you are unless you're working together.
On
And
the
it's
big
just-
bad ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I
the thing
mean?
too is like you mentioned skepticism about the power team or power teams in general. But like I've worked with Calvin since he was a brand new realtor,
Mhm.
way before any power team stuff. I've worked with Richard and his old business partner basically my entire career.
Yeah.
So, and I've worked with Steve for as long as I've known Steve's an accountant, once again, predating any power team stuff. So it's interesting that, many groups go to whoever's going to write a big fat check.
Yeah.
You guys went to just who's active in this space, who already works together, who trusts each other.
Yeah.
And it's, you built a team around who's actually doing the stuff rather than who's got a marketing budget.
True dat.
100%.
True dat, Trudeau.
Oh my God.
That one's not gonna stick, eh? I keep
I was
pushing
just
that
having
one, but I
ignoring
get
that
weird looks every time I say it.
Well, I just got blonde hair, buddy, not black hair, so you're out.
Anyways, so let's get into what's going on with mortgage rates because we're hearing some rumors that fixed rates are going down. Is
They're all over
this
the place.
true that fixed rates are down or something's going on or rates like I don't know. I haven't seen anything that confirms this in the media, and I haven't. And typically, mortgage brokers are all over this on the TikToks and the Instagrams and whatnot. So what is going on with interest rates right now?
So it's all a matter of your frame of reference. Rates are higher than they were 90 days ago on the fixed rate side, but they're lower than they were 2 weeks ago. So it's important to be aware that the media and most realtors tend to latch on to the 8 scheduled Bank of Canada meetings. They held, they decreased, they increased. and they've been holding for quite a while. The media makes a ton of noise about that. Common thing that happens eventually if the Bank of Canada cuts. I get an email from everyone and their dog who's in a fixed rate. Does my fixed rate get cheaper, or I'm getting a new fixed rate mortgage? Is that cheaper? And we have to do a lot of education. So I always try to talk about this stuff here because this is relevant to real estate investors, homeowners, particularly in this case, renewals. So as an example, like the buyers we're working with, even though bond yields, so that's the thing that controls fixed rate pricing for new mortgages, they're called bond yields. Mm-hmm. They went up drastically. For our buyer clients, we just avoided the lenders that increased immediately and went to the ones that were really dragging their feet, holding rates lower. But where this is really relevant is if you got pricing on a mortgage renewal in the last 2-3 weeks, you want to go back ASAP and ask for new pricing, because the odds are the rate they offer you will be 0.2 to 0.3% cheaper if you got the previous pricing at kind of the worst time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do we have JV partners we need to talk to?
I was just about to say, aren't we working on one right now? I think they just emailed us during the show.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
All right, continue. Oh, wow, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're
look at the
literally
timing
working
on that.
a renewal right now. So
interesting.
very good information to have.
I don't believe you.
That's very interesting. And I mean, it's good news, isn't it?
Rates were lower 90 days ago. So is it good news? The overall trend is still that rates are trending up, but it's very volatile. And the challenge is, I was just chatting with a client who's a business owner in Vancouver yesterday about this. There's an immense amount of pressure trying to push rates down. There's an immense amount of pressure trying to push rates up. The upward pressure is winning, but I always visualize like two, moose, deer, elk, whatever, with their horns locked, pushing. The problem is that because there's so much force pushing in both directions, that if something gives, it can move rapidly. So I think you need to be kind of prepared and proactive. That's why we keep a rolling list of all our clients that are active, that we call it like our rate hold hot list in a sense, where we flag what it is they're trying to do, the timelines, and then anytime we see a major fluctuation in rates, we'll start sending off rate holds based on essentially beating that increase. So it's kind of a preventative thing, but it gives a little bit of insulation against rates, where I never want a client to buy a property because of a mortgage related thing like a rate hold, but it gives the client the ability to quantify it. Okay, rates went up. If I close on a property in the next X days, I save $8,000 in interest. It doesn't mean you should inherently buy something, but if you find a good deal that you're like, if this was $2,000 cheaper, I would buy it. Well, that rate hold might push you over the edge. That being said, I have a pretty strong opinion that if you wouldn't buy a property over a 4-figure price difference, I always say it's a shit deal. You shouldn't do it. And then usually the clients argue with me, and then I say, well, then what does this matter?
I was going to bring it up. I was going to ask you a similar question. So thank you for the segue. And I wasn't sure whether that would be something that you wanted to speak on, because, it's not the mortgage broker's responsibility to tell people what a good deal is. It's your responsibility as the investor. But I would like to hear a more thorough opinion on that, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Sure. Like, I'm a believer that a good deal is I'm going to start off with what I call the friends and family realtors, which is adjectives. But a good deal is something with great characteristics, something that's going to drive the value of the property long term and suppress vacancy. Mm-hmm. So lots of buzzwords. What does that really mean in the real world? It's a property that is going to stand out compared to others. So a wider, like a larger lot overall, maybe a narrow frontage but larger private backyard, a property that's utilized well, so very open concept, proximity to schools, transit, employment centers. Essentially, the things on the checklist. Imagine you guys are going to buy a new primary residence, and when you walk into a home that's not priced any different than the other homes you saw, it's not necessarily nicer, it's not newer, or like it's got marble instead of granite type thing, but you just walk in and you're like, wow, this is home. This is it. This is the one. It's those, like, when you stop and you go, okay, why? Oh, well, the layout, even though it's, needs some renovations, the layout, we could work with. This is great. Wow, the backyard's really big and private. Hey, there's an elementary school, 600 meters down the road. The high school's half a kilometer away. Like, our kids could literally walk to school. Oh, it's not that far off of the White Mud, so getting to work will be way faster and there'll be less traffic. Like, when you start stacking up all of these reasons, that's, I think, what drives a great opportunity. It's not the price. Price is relevant. Don't pay $100,000 extra for it.
Yeah.
But what you pay is not going to change the appreciation, the tenant profile, the vacancy that you get, or even really the long-term operating expenses in the sense repairs, maintenance, vacancy. So
yeah,
that's my view on it.
We actually viewed a property exactly like that, where when we walked in, and we just talked about this on the show maybe last week, we walked in and it had these like floor to ceiling, almost like windows, and so much natural light, and it was nice and open and nice and bright, like new white paint and light floors. And I walked in and I'm literally like almost beside myself. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. Oh my God. Like, I didn't even recognize who I was. I was like, why am I gushing over this like little rental property? But I was, and I was like, this is so nice. And what I realized in that is that like a tenant is going to walk in and do the exact same thing. And like I said to Wayne, I'm like, this is going to be such an easy property to fill, and people are going to want to stay here. Had the cutest, charming little backyard that was like just nothing special about it, but just it looked nice. And I said to Wayne, I said, if you lose this one, I'm divorcing you. And
she said it.
I said it, and we
nice
actually were willing to put in a higher offer on it because we knew how good it was going to perform as a long-term buy and hold in our portfolio. Did we get it? No, the divorce papers are being written up.
So this is okay. Sorry, and I want to let you talk.
Who was your realtor? You clearly didn't negotiate hard enough.
Okay, no, and it's not Calvin's fault because I put a limit on it.
It
And as you were saying that, I was in my head and like, I need to talk about this story. And then literally Gabby interrupted me and brought up the exact same story. So I just want everybody to know.
It's important.
I just want everybody to know that if this is not the sign that we should be together forever, we literally were thinking about the exact same thing in this moment.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was on further to Keaton's point is that I could have paid $10,000 more on this property. The numbers still would have been amazing. They would have been better than what everybody else is getting in the industry right now. And even if it was $10,000 over market value, who gives a shit? I'm keeping it for 15 to 20 years. You know what I mean? All the money I'm going to make on this property, I know how much money I'm going to make on this property. It doesn't matter.
So why didn't you?
I don't know. And
you wanted the divorce.
When Keaton was saying that, I almost felt an overwhelming amount of guilt. I'm just like, you know what? Like,
I was pretty clear.
I was pretty clear. Nope, make sure we don't pay a penny over that because I wanted to stand firm and not let my emotions get involved. And so I stood firm, and then I told Calvin's like, well, sorry, we lost it to a better offer. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. So you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. We'll just let this one go. There's always another one.
Oh, hang on a minute,
Fold
man.
in
I
your
thought you were
marriage.
groveling and begging Gabby forgiveness, and then at the very end, you're doubling down. Which is it?
Yeah.
I don't know,
We
man.
wanna
I'm
know.
just trying to run
Which
a
one is
business
it?
here. If you give her an inch, Jesus, next one it's gonna be like, oh, we should buy this now too.
It's 7 a.m., Wayne. We're staying off that topic. I'm not.
I regret that property. I regret that. You know what? To this point,
I think it would have been my most favorite property in our entire portfolio.
Wow.
I think that I can easily say that. The fact that I walked into it and was just like, oh.
I
Probably
just
missed out on a 3-figure ROI, buddy.
listen. I want everyone to know that throughout my whole career as a real estate investor, not once have I ever regretted anything. I live by every single one of my decisions. I couldn't have done anything differently. I am so incredibly proud of myself and proud of us for what we've done. There is nothing I could have done differently. Until now, I believe that this is my one regret not buying that property.
Maybe it was for the good. Maybe something terrible is going to happen at the complex or something. I don't know.
I think we're gonna see Wayne in a stock with the head in the thing on the side of the White Mud with a sign.
Oh
my
man.
gosh.
Anyways, it's I'm looking in the comments here, and it sounds like everybody says I should get her some flowers, edible arrangements. Nobody wants to defend me?
No.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Seems like this is...
There's too much wisdom in the group, man. Everybody knows not to mess with the wives.
But, you are right. And it is a little bit more than just, the price. As long as you're playing in it for the, playing the long game, right? You're playing long-term buy and hold. Long-term buy and
You got
hold.
to build a stable portfolio and not be too aggressive and leveraged to the tits, because too much leverage means you need to compromise on those other things because you need every dollar. Whereas, I know you guys are pretty prudent, but the average investor is probably going to experience windows of vacancy, slightly negative cash flow. Like you have to have the buffers to deal with that.
Yeah.
Or just repairs, like a new furnace, and then the roof goes, and then another property has a hot water tank issue, and the tenant pulls a midnight move. Like these things tend to happen in clusters sometimes.
Yeah.
And having just, even relatively modest contingencies is the difference of like, holy shit, or
Yeah.
In the last, let's say 15 years, where would you say we are for interest rates? Are we, let's say,
people make.
Sorry?
They say 15 years. Big picture. Like if you look at like rates from like the 30s to now, we're in the average. Like we're still a little bit below the average. The issue is that if you look from like 2000 forward, there's this crazy dip. So it's a question of like, has the world fundamentally changed? I know many people that argue, yes, federal debt's higher. They've moved off of essentially fiat currency. So dollars has moved off of standards that limits the ability to print money. They print money more aggressively. Inflation's higher.
Right.
So they balance larger amounts of debt with lower rates and inflation. So basically making more money. I don't know. It's beyond my pay grade, man. Yeah,
But
honestly.
I mean, like as far as interest rates go, I mean, taking that other stuff, out of the equation, because you're right. I mean, devaluing the dollar definitely does change things as well. But I would say, as far as the interest rates go, if we were to look at like, the last 20 years, 15 years, like we're right in the middle. If not, we're probably, we're right on par in average, even if it's for the last 100 years as well, as far as interest rates go. So I just don't understand why like people are so tied to interest rates, when making their decisions, because ultimately, you should be buying properties that the interest rate or the interest rate change in 5 years shouldn't affect you, right?
Like bluntly, our compensation as brokers has nothing to do with the actual rates were. We got paid the same when rates were 1.5% as we do when they're 5%.
Right.
I actually feel personally that rates at these levels is much healthier for people in the country. I understand we don't want to pay more interest. If you already own a bunch of assets, yes, lower rates are better. But the issue is when rates drop to those really low levels, real estate gets stupid. That's the only word that really comes to mind. People overpay grossly. It becomes like an infinite money glitch in a sense, where it's like, oh, well, rates are below inflation. I literally, even though I'm paying interest, I'm making wealth off of just owning these assets, even if they're cash flow negative. And that leads to, we saw it in Vancouver and Toronto, things really get stretched. There's crazy speculation and booms that happen to the level that the province mandated in BC that you cannot write a subject free offer. There's like a 72-hour clause where it's like, even if you write an unconditional offer, it's not unconditional. And there's like a modest amount of compensation if you walk away in that window without any other conditions. That's how bad it got. Like subject free offers were meaningless. It was like, oh, great. You put an offer in. It was like a nightclub. Oh, yeah. Which line are you? Oh, we've got conditions. They just put it straight into the shredder.
The ugly.
And then it's like, oh, okay, you're subject free. You're like, yeah, do I get it? They're like, no, go get in line. And that's the line that wrapped around the building.
Yeah.
So, while I understand investors want lower rates and they're frustrated, it was not healthy. And it, who it punished the most was younger people trying to establish themselves, because real estate values just ripped up.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones that get left out. And remember, the price is forever. The rate's only for 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, depending on the term you choose.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think my favorite time in the cycles of real estate is when everything is just kind of meh. Like interest rates are just like, this'll do. And rents are like, this'll do. And the market's just nice and boring. And you know what I mean? Like nothing's going like this. Rents aren't going like this. values aren't going like this. Like everything's just kind of like and trucking along.
Leanne in the comments says vanilla.
I love that market, and I just wish we could stay there forever.
Imagine if a genie popped out of a bottle and it's like, okay, Wayne and Gabby, you've got a choice. You can have the next 25 years of your real estate investing. You're going to have 12 and a half of the best years ever in real estate and 12 and a half of the worst years ever in real estate. Or you can have basically a donkey dragging a wagon down a road. It's just going to do, but it's just going to go slowly. I think any sensible investor would take the donkey.
Take the donkey.
I'll take the ass wagon. Yeah.
Slow and consistent, relatively predictable.
Yes.
I would argue that that's far, far better for anyone who wants to operate like a business. Now, if you're a speculator, gambler, etc., you're like, wow, 50-50, I have a huge home run. And, you know, I think it's mindset, right? Those doing it for family and future probably want consistency. Those doing it for vanity, ego, self-affirmation, to feel smart.
Yes.
They're the ones that, you know, oh, look at these 13 pre-sales I've got. Oh, I'm going to get rich. And then, you know, so. And I've been there, done that. I tied up 2 pre-sale contracts, and I was fortunate enough that my spidey senses went off and I dumped one right away. And then the other one I closed right as COVID was becoming a thing. And once again, relationships. I had to call up the realtor that represented the developer and basically beg and be like, hey, about to have a baby. The world's not, or actually I just had a baby. The world's not great. I just started a business. Can you help me with the assignment fees? And because I had a good relationship and I wasn't rude and didn't damage the relationship getting into the deal, you know, I was able to negotiate some pretty solid relief and basically get $25,000 of assignment fees just poof gone.
Wow.
All out of being a human being and not, you know, it's one of the mistakes I see people make is like, yes, you want a good deal, but you don't want to do it at the expense of the relationship.
Yes.
I understand that you may not deal with the seller again, or you may not deal with that listing agent, but sometimes you need their help before you close. And that kind of ties in earlier to the Richard and Calvin story about the 911, everybody needs to row closing. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hypothetically, if like, you know, what would you say, because everybody asks this, and I know it's not an easy question to answer, but like just real fast, what do you think that like the average fixed term 5-year rate is right now for an investor? 4.5?
It's going to range like a really, really aggressive, like you either have a really good relationship with the person you damage the relationship. Your best case is probably like 4.1.
Okay, better. Yeah.
Average is probably 4.5. High is probably 5.
Yeah. And if we're at 4.5 right now and the numbers work right now and an investor is looking at this, and I just want to play like a hypothetical for someone who's like going to buy their first rental property right now. This is the first time that they've ever gotten an interest rate for an investment property mortgage. And they're like 4.5%. But I'm worried, Keaton, that in 5 years from now, what if the interest rates go back up to 6% again? Or 7%. You know, what advice would you give to someone like that that's concerned about the interest rate fluctuation every 5-year renewal?
I was just looking around to see if I could find my financial calculator. But if you protect your ability to requalify, the reality is that you're going to pay down principal. You pay down principal and your renewal comes up, say in 3 years or 5 years, you can re-extend the amortization and drop your payments a little bit. It's not a magic solution. It's not going to solve all cash flow woes, but it can alleviate pressure off of cash flow issues. So that would be the first thing I would look at. Obviously, there's the hope that your revenue rises relative to your costs, at least to some degree. But if someone's really worried, I would say just model it out, right? What happens if in 5 years rates are 6%? What is the baseline? What if it just happens and you do nothing? And then what can we do to alleviate it? And maybe that individual is going to want to buy properties that they feel there's a statistically higher likelihood they can increase their rents, right? So once again, that ties back to maybe they're not looking for cheap properties, but they're looking for properties that people get attached to and fall in love with and maybe are slightly irrational, where it's like, hey, I really don't want to move. Yes, I understand rates went up 2%. You know what? I'll pay an extra $75 a month, even though I know rents are relatively stable. No.
Right.
It's a business. You have to treat your clients, your tenants fairly. But sometimes a case of like, hey, tenant, our costs went up $300 a month. To make this work, I might short-term rent this or do furnished rentals or whatever. But could you do an extra 75 a month, and I'm going to do some other things, and I'm going to lose 100 a month, and you bridge those gaps, right? Once again, it's like Wayne's reference earlier with Gabby is as sometimes you have to fight for the inches, right? Like you gotta get a little bit of room on the mortgage payment side by stretching the AM. You need to, maybe you choose a specific product. Maybe it's interest only on portion of the debt. Maybe you go and you be upfront with your tenant, you give them some options and alternatives, and maybe they give you a little bit. Maybe you try to find efficiency with your utilities, right? You know how many investors are probably burning $500, $600, $700 a year because their insulation and all their rental sucks?
I thought you were about to pitch me on ACN
for what, $2,000. So it's a business, right? You got to approach it that way.
When you said the utilities, I thought you were about to pitch me on ACN. None of our listeners have any idea what ACN is, but like if you've been around for a few years,
pyramid.
Yeah. I thought that was a good joke for us, at least.
My favorite, I get the message on Facebook, hi, I help families lower their utility costs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just
shut up.
Nope.
Look.
I'm going to save you $12 a month, and then I need you to pay $200 a month to join this thing that's going to build financial freedom.
One of us. Anyways, I thank you for sharing those notes. It's the reamortization is a really good little, like you said, it's not going to perfectly solve it, but it's one solution. But ultimately, I liked what you said about model it up. And honestly, just sometimes I think when you're buying a property, if your plan is to keep it for 15, 20 years, you need to kind of go through all the different hypotheticals. You know what I mean? You have to do all the projections and do your research. If this is my model right now and it works for the next 5 years, in the event, like what variables are there that can affect my business? Well, obviously mortgage rates, rental rates, insurance rates, utilities, if you're paying the utilities, and then ultimately property taxes. So what you have to do is go through different models and different versions of how this can all play out over the next 15 to 20 years, however long you want to keep the property, and see what are your best case scenarios, worst case scenarios, and make sure you put proper systems in place to make sure that you protect yourself, right? But if you're just planning it all out just based off of the pro forma that your realtor gave you, Susie sells homes, gives you a pro forma that's got all these 4% rental growth, every year, and all these other, crazy things that expectations. I think what you need to do is model it up yourself and just play the worst case scenario out. So that way you're not surprised in 5 years when the renewal comes up and you're like, I can't take an extra $200 a month in mortgage payments. Like, this is going to ruin me. I have to sell. Well, you're not going to be the only person that's feeling that way because they're unprepared. Literally everyone else who is unprepared is going to be selling at the exact same time too. And you're destined to lose money.
Well, and there's periods of times where sometimes you got to grind, right? You call up your insurance guy and you say, hey, costs have gone up. We got to get the home insurance costs down. You maybe hit up your property manager and you say, you know what, like, hey, I've been great. I've been, these properties are pretty good. We've got good tenants. I need a little bit. And once again, you may not get something everywhere, but if you've got good relationships and it is a hard time, usually everybody's willing to pull on the rope a little bit. And the other thing, okay, you're worried about the situation. Great. How much is it? Let's say it's $500,000 property. Okay, you need $104,000 for closing cost purchase price. Great. You need 120, Wayne. What do you mean I need 120? Hey, we're going to put the other 16 grand into a contingency. Oh, but my ROI. Yeah, but when those rates go up, you're worried about when that thing happens, you've got 10 years of supplementing that cash flow.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's all about the ROI, Wayne. If I put 5% down and lie about the use of the property, I get infinite ROI and then go bankrupt in 4 years.
I can't wait for 5 years from now when we laugh about this. A story for another day.
2% rates, we don't know.
Sorry, say again?
Probably neither, but.
This was such a good conversation today. I think that there was lots of great stuff that people could take out of it. There's so many other directions it could have went as well. So always looking forward to the next time that you're on as well and see where we take the conversation. But thank you, Keaton, for joining us live, in picture, in color. How did you enjoy the experience?
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And
Awesome.
I definitely prefer this. It's nice to be able to see you guys. And
nice. Yeah, I agree.
More. energy instead of just talking to the void. And
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. And thank you everyone else who joined us live.
Yeah, let's thank our top fans on YouTube today. Number 1 fan today on YouTube is Josh. Woo! And number 2 fan is Kyla.
Hey.
And number 3 fan is, I can't see. Who's number 3? Top fans? Is it? Tell me here. It's Kirsten. It's Kirsten. All right. That's it, guys. That's our show. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you all tomorrow. Bye now.
Thanks for listening. Want to be coached personally by Wayne and Gabby? Then you should join the Real Estate Investing Masters Mentorship Program. Details are in the show notes to get started.